All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Gridiron Gurus podcast. Today we'll be looking at the AFC Championship game between the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Pats 5.5-point road favorites, 40.5 that total. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, January 25th on CBS from Denver, Colorado. Getting things started with the Patriots offense on the Broncos defense for New England. This is a relatively young group led by Drake May, who's having a stellar season, over 4,800 pass yards at this point, regular season and postseason combined. Had a pretty good game against the Texans in the divisional round, threw for 179 yards, 3 touchdowns. Protecting the football was a tad difficult, really, for both teams. The Patriots did a lot better job than the Texans did, but it wasn't a flawless effort by any means by May. This is a guy all year long that has been able to take advantage of man coverage and just shown, very good accuracy downfield. And he's going to have opportunities against the Broncos. This is a defense that, people have raved about. It's been good for the most part this year, but they've had some tough matchups against the better quarterbacks. Josh Allen, I know he had a lot of turnovers that led to self-inflicted wounds by the Bills, but he was really picking them apart in terms of a pass yardage standpoint. At some point earlier on in the year, the Jaguars, led by Trevor Lawrence, also were able to really have their way through the air. So this is an opportunity for Drake May to come out here and deal. You're going to see a lot of man coverage opportunities against Riley Moss, who's been a battle-tested corner this year. He's given up a lot of big plays, 7 touchdowns included, but he's also made some big plays happen for this for the secondary. Patrick Surtain battled some injuries at times this year, but he's still been out there playing at a high level. A really good cover corner there. You're going to look to potentially see him shadow Stephon Diggs. And Diggs this year has been really good for this team, having a bit of a resurgent season after coming off a big bad injury last season. Kind of a forgotten player, but he's had a really good year. He's really fit like a glove in this offense. High percentage targets in terms of receptions by this offense. These guys catch a lot of what's thrown their way. Not just Diggs has got over 1,000 yards this year, but Hunter Henry's been really good at tight end. Demario Douglas has been a good playmaker. Kayshon Boutte had a monster game against Houston. This is a team that has just a variety of different weapons. Mac Hollins, Austin Hooper, handful of different guys throughout the year have been getting involved. Kyle Williams even has 3 touchdowns. So for the most part, it's a youthful group, but the two veterans in Diggs and Henry have been leading the way for this offense. And Drake May, of his accuracy downfield, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to take advantage of some of the matchups they'll have against the Broncos. And Denver didn't do a great job of stopping the run. Gave up 183 rushing against the Bills. Josh Allen, a mobile quarterback, was able to pick up some big chunks. Drake May also fits the bill in that. He's got the most first downs of any quarterback in the NFL this year in terms of being able to take off with his legs and make things happen. He did have a bad fumble against Houston, uncharacteristic of him. All the way back to his days in college, he's been a valuable runner, either on design quarterback runs or, again, those scrambles and improvisation. But James Cook also had a monster day, 100-plus rushing, 5 yards per carry. So you've seen this team really get beat up in the trenches. And, it's going to be a balanced offense, I think, from New England. They're also going to look to pound the rock. They really did that in the second half against Houston. Ramondre Stevenson in the freezing cold, in the snow. They were giving him the rock, and he was making the defense pay. He ended the day with 70 rushing yards. Travion Henderson could not get loose. He really struggled, did not generate a whole lot for this offense, but he's a guy, even though he's really faded over here towards the back half of the year, does have a lot of speed and a lot of explosiveness, and he can be effective for this offense as a dual threat back, and that's something that Denver is going to have to account for. For New England, though, you're going to want to look to implement a lot of hurry up, but more importantly, trying to run the football and just have balance, because this is a pass rush. It's lethal. 70 sacks on the year. Nick Bonito, of course, leading the way. Jonathan Cooper on the other side has been really good. DJ Jones, John Franklin Myers have been some of their better guys on the interior. Zach Allen's been a strugglesome defender for them. He's going to lead them in snaps. He's an important starter for this defense that's just not really cutting it when it comes to slowing down the run. But he does have 11 sacks this year, so his pass rushing from the interior has been great. But if we can get the run game going and slow these guys down, attack Allen's weaknesses, attack this defense that's really slowed down against the run as of late, that's going to be important for New England. But I think even if they're one-dimensional, they're confident in the receiver's abilities with Drake May at the helm to really attack downfield. Back to that pass rush, though, New England, they did as good as they can against the Texans. I mean, that's a nasty edge group they're going against. They still allowed 5 sacks in Denver. They can hit you with that as well. They don't have the same tenacity that the Texans do up front. Which is crazy to say because the Broncos outpaced them in numbers. But if you watch these two teams throughout the year, you could definitely make the case the Texans' defense is better than the Broncos by far. Will Campbell had some struggles He's going to have to step up in this one as a young player. Morgan Moses at the right side. He's been rock solid this year for this team. And then the interior has also been getting some good pass protection. So I think you're going to look to see New England try to run the football. You don't want to create many opportunities for this defense to be able to get short fields or, off turnovers or 3-and-outs because, obviously with the limitations the Broncos offense might have. Don't want to give them any freebies, but this is a fearless offense. Drake May's tremendous for the most part this year. They've done a good job of taking care of the football, and I believe in their ability to run the football against Denver. So it's going to be an interesting matchup there. But I think from a physicality standpoint, New England definitely checks the box in that regard. Moving to the other side of things, the Denver offense. Obviously, the news of Bo Nix going down with that broken ankle is tough, especially with AFC Championship game at home. These opportunities come every couple of years. I haven't been here since Peyton Manning was there. Same with the Patriots, right? They haven't been one of these since Tom Brady many years back. These opportunities are hard to come by, and it's a devastating blow, but they're going to have to move on. Jarrett Stidham, he's been here since Sean Payton took over in Denver. It's his third year in the system. That's not going to be a problem for him. He doesn't need to sit here and try to learn the playbook. That's something he's been practicing for a couple of years. He's going to be a straight plug-and-play starter, and it's just going to come down to his ability to stay calm and, feel free and think freely when it comes to diagnosing this defense and making the right decision. You're going to look to see Denver, I think, implement a lot of quick game, getting the ball out of his hands in a hurry, taking advantage of one-on-one matchups and showcasing some good accuracy. This is a guy who's only got about 200 passing attempts in his career. He's been in the league for a number of years now. He was drafted out of Auburn back in 2019. About 200 some pass attempts for him. Nothing crazy, just average play in the couple of starts he does have to his name. And he doesn't have to be great. I think he can just be average in this game. But if the Broncos are not going to give an assist to Stidham, it's going to be a tough day because the biggest problem is they threw the football a lot against Buffalo. That's a run defense that's one of the worst in the NFL, and they couldn't do anything. They just shut down the run entirely in that second half. They didn't even try. Only 10 rushing attempts total by the running backs. Bo Nix had some scrambles. He ended up having 12 carries for 29 yards, and obviously that's an aspect of the offense that's now gone. And Nix really willed them to victory. He had 46 pass attempts. And again, they just abandoned the run. And that's alarming against the defense that's not very good at stopping it. And that could be your biggest issues coming into this one. I think Peyton definitely has a plan in mind to get this offense humming under Stidham, but it's not going to be great. And if it doesn't include the run game, it's going to be a long afternoon. So RJ Harvey and his explosiveness, they're going to have to be utilized. You're going to see him out of the backfield as a pass catcher involved significantly. Had 5 catches for nearly 50 yards against Buffalo. Wasn't able to break free with any long runs either. Jaleel McLaughlin early on, he had 4 carries for 21 yards. Most of that came in the first quarter. And again, after that, just shut it down completely. And this is a New England defense. They've been feisty against the run. Christian Barmore has really struggled up front. But Harold Landry, Clevon Chazion, these guys have been good pass rushers this season. Milton Williams has been a real force. Has been inconsistent at times this year. Corey Durden's been an unsung hero for him. So this is a defensive group that, in terms of pure talent's not really all that great, but they've been playing great as of late as a unit where they've been blitz heavy in these 2 playoff games. Seen it against the Texans, against the Chargers, just seen them do it every time because those stunts were giving the offensive line for LA massive problems. So they weren't as blitz happy against Houston, but you've seen it a lot, especially in the first half. They're just coming downhill, blitzing CJ Stroud, who was really struggling with confidence because he had a boatload of turnovers. And this is where this defense can really thrive, and I think they're going to look to do a similar game plan, just continue the blitz. And the Broncos' offensive line should be able to handle it, but against this quarterback here, who just doesn't have that much experience, and he's definitely going to feel a little flustered in the moment. That's probably going to be another opportunity for them to really tee off, but that can also create opportunities for this pass game where they have guys who can make plays in the pass game. Cortland Sutton, of course, downfield. His intermediate ability on slants and curl routes with his strong hands is something that's got to be taken advantage of. You got Troy Franklin. Hopefully he's going to be healthy for this one. He's a pure burner downfield. Evan Ingram, a versatile tight end. He can also be impactful in quick game. Marvin Mims had a monster game against Buffalo. So they do have a receiving core that's capable of making some plays, and that's going to create man coverage opportunities. The Patriots are going to be blitzing a lot. And I mean, if they can't get good pass protection out of the running backs and they can't get explosive plays out of them either, it's going to be a lot on Stidham's shoulders. For New England, though, these corners have been locked down this year. You look at Christian Gonzalez, he's been terrific. Carlton Davis hasn't been as stout as his co-part, but he's also been pretty solid this season. this too high safety look has been pretty impressive. Craig Woodson and Jalen Hawkins have been very good safeties, especially when it comes to stepping up into the box and making plays against the run. So Denver, if they're going to be facing crowded boxes, it's going to be even more for them when it comes to having to potentially roll out, 22 personnel, 12 personnel, extra tight ends to get into the box and see some more condensed formations to try and spring the run game a little bit. I love what Robert Spillane does as a linebacker for New England. This guy's been great for a number of years in the league. He's been just a tremendous run defender, so it's not going to be easy by any means. It's a nice physical group when it comes to creating negative plays in the run game. You've seen the Patriots do it again against Houston, where they only had 48 yards rushing, could not generate anything. Woody Marks, he had 14 carries for 17 yards, and they also forced a fumble on him. So ridiculous numbers. This run defense is playing some of their best ball. Chargers didn't generate much either. I know it's not the best offenses in the world, but considering how the Broncos just looked, it's not going to be a tougher challenge, you would assume. So it's going to be interesting to see the game plan from Jared Stidham. You just want to see him go out there and play fearless. Don't worry about the result. Um, whatever happens, be. This is going to be a great opportunity for him to go out there and play, and he needs to try to put his best foot forward. If he makes mistakes, so be it. That's just how it's going to have to be. I think he's got the pass catchers to get the job done. He's going to be in the system that he understands very well. I would hope, since he's been around for 3 years. I think the staff certainly has belief in him in a relief opportunity. You got a respectable defense on the other side. You're at home. So, it's better if you don't make mistakes, but I'd rather him go out there and again, just be fearless. And if he makes mistakes, so be it. It's just how it's going to have to be. This is a very resilient Broncos team. If you go out there and make a couple, it's just going to have to be dealt with, just like Denver's done all season long. Looking at the final thoughts and the prediction, I don't think Denver's going to roll over by any means. The Patriots this season have been very tough, and it seems like they're playing some of their best football right now. I think there's two teams all year long. They've just kind of played weaker schedules. They've played a lot of close games. And the Broncos now probably would have been favored in this one, but their quarterback going down makes things tough. I think Stidham's going to play a respectable game. I just don't know if I'm a big enough believer in this defense. I think Drake May, in the matchups he's going to draw, he's going to be able to make plays, on that side of the ball to put them in position to score just more points than Denver will be able to. And, they can't settle for field goals. They got to score touchdowns in this one because points might be hard to come by for Denver with a backup quarterback. But I don't think they're going to look to condense the offense a whole lot. They're not going to go out there and just run the football, on first and second down, set up third and short. I don't think you're going to see it. I think you're going to see an aggressive approach, get Stidham comfortable early, and I think, he can play a good enough game to keep it close, and I think they will. And I think they'll cover the spread. I just don't know if they're going to be able to make enough plays to win the game outright. I think this will be a good game at the end of the day, though. Two very young teams, at least in terms of playoff experience. Drake May is like a second-year guy here going on the road, trying to do something that Tom Brady did, right? So trying to create his own legacy here. And I think the Patriots will get the job done at the end of the day, and they're going to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. I don't think this one, again, though, is going to be a clear-cut walkover for the Pats. The Broncos will be very competitive in this one, despite the limitations potentially at quarterback. That's me for today's episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.